Ahead on the Bleav in Steelers show, Pat McAfee signing with ESPN. We pay tribute to the legendary Jim Brown. Steelers get Kenny Pickett and company in the offense, more help, but we start. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed Mitch Trubisky to a contract extension. Good morning, I'm Mark Bergin, joined as always by two-time Super Bowl champion and Pittsburgh Steelers scout, Ike Taylor. IT, good to see you this morning. You're walking wounded. This is like your flu game this morning, Ike, because I know you're a little under the weather today, but thank you for taking the time to join us.
Hey, let me Mike join this thing, man. Under the flu, let me go for 48 or something. That's all I'm doing, but I'm going to need a little help from Pippin, and you Pippin on me, so Here we go. It's always good just to see you, Mark, so let's take off whenever you want to.
All right, Ike, I approach this Trubisky news like this. The Steelers now have Trubisky and Pickett under contract through the 2025 season. You've got the fifth-year option on Pickett's rookie contract for the 2026 season. And I look to see what the players are saying. And what does Kenny Pickett say about Mitch Trubisky? Saying he's like an extra coach for me. Told that to Ben Roethlisberger on Seven's podcast, Ike. So this to me says, okay, these two guys can work together, be grown adults in the quarterback room. And then if and when the Steelers need to go to Trubisky, if there's injury to Pickett, you have a capable backup behind him. That's how I view this news. What say you, Ike Taylor?
Man, you got 2 first-round draft picks sitting in one room. That's how I look at it. It don't get no better for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but another first-round draft pick is the backup. And he understands going from Chicago to Buffalo to the Pittsburgh Steelers, how things are ran. What I mean by that, Mark, is it's a real live brotherhood. It's an organization, and when you come to Pittsburgh, you really see why Pittsburgh was winning all them Super Bowls. You really see when people come from other teams why they want to retire as a Pittsburgh Steelers, not a team that drafted him. So Mitch saw what it was. I'm sure Mitch felt some kind of way when they wound up just putting Kenny Pickett in, but now he sees how good Kenny Pickett is. Now he see the growth and development of Kenny Pickett. Like, you know what? He is the chosen one. You know, so from my standpoint, I think this is a great signing. 3 years, you become now, if anything happens to Kenny Pickett, you step in. You already been in the city for a year. You check the market. You ain't like what's on the market coming to you. And you're like, you know what? I do like the city of Pittsburgh. I do like Coach T and the coaching staff. I do like the organization. And I see why people always come back to this organization. Or even if people wasn't drafted, thank you. Even if people wasn't drafted by this organization, I see why they retire as a Pittsburgh Steelers. So for me, bringing Mitch back is a lot. It says a lot about Mitch, who just wants to come back, to be honest with you. Mitch could have went a whole different route. He could have went a route that, hey, I want to be a starter for another team. But Mitch was like, nah, I'm just going to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see what this young man could be. He could be special. And I'm talking about Kenny Pickett. So for me, Mark, just talking about Mitchell Trubisky, it says a lot about Mitchell Trubisky and his mindset. And we talk about confidence. We talk about reality. We talk about the truth. He hit all 3 of them above. So Pittsburgh got, 2 first-rounders sitting in that quarterback room. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I just look at it like this too, Ike. So he was due $8 million this year with this extension. It'll be a little bit more than 6, but he extends the length of his contract. And I don't want to wish, I hope Kenny Pickett starts 17 games in the regular season for the next decade plus, right? But the reality is Pickett's coming off a season where he had 2 concussions. So when he gets hurt, you've then got to go to the backup. You've got to have a capable backup to where the backup comes in and there's not a noticeable drop-off in the NFL. And there's a lot of teams that aren't able to do that once their starter's down. Season's over, right? And for many, many teams, they're not able to do that. Now, with the money that you're paying Mitch Trubisky, they're paying him like one of the best backups, if not among the elite level of say, hey, if Pickett gets hurt, there can't be a drop off when Trubisky comes in. That's how they're paying him. But then again, to be able to work together, to be professional and to be in the quarterback room and for Trubisky to teach Pickett things that maybe he wished he had earlier on in his career when he was young and up and coming. And the next big thing as a quarterback is the number 2 overall pick back in the day with the Bears.
So that's what I'm saying, Mark. What other football team in the NFL can say they got 2 first rounders sitting in the quarterback room? Not now.
Off the top of my head, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm talking about started over 40 games. As a first rounder. So that's what I'm saying. Like Pittsburgh, Omar Khan, Otis, and Coach T, them two. Omar Khan, Otis, and Coach T, man, I don't know how they be doing this, but just like over this offseason, now you talking about being Houdini. Them boys been pulling a rabbit out the hat all the time. Like, usually a magician only got one rabbit in the hat. They done pulled 12 rabbits out the hat, out of one hat. And that's what they doing. So it's just, bro, but you got to start off with the Roonies. Now, Mark, that I'm in the front office and I see how the Roonies move, and I see how they let coaches be coaches and players be players. I'm like, now I get why I was a Paul Bearer. Now I get why I can, the door always open. When you the CEO, when you the owner of a team, and your door always open, and the players feel like they can talk and chat with you. And, you give everybody a little something for Christmas, and players' wives' names and kids' names, and you're like, hey, he ain't even got to know my name. He could just know my last name, but he know my wife's name. He know my kid's name. Like it's just a little bit different in Pittsburgh, Mark. And it starts off with them. So I'm sure Mitch coming from one organization to the next organization to Pittsburgh, he was like, and I'm sure he had these pillow talks. We talk about the pillow talks. He had a lot of these pillow talks with his wife. It was like, and I'm sure she had something to do with it. Like Pittsburgh home, they don't need to go nowhere. Like they go as much as the truth hurts. Anybody, man, woman, boy, girl, they're going to tell you the truth. And it's just on you if you want to accept it or not. And he didn't hear the truth, and he accepted it. So, 2 first rounders sitting in one room. That's unheard of. Well, I had it before. I had Big Ben and Byron Leftwich. Mm-hmm. This is what Pittsburgh do. Like people just find a way to come to Pittsburgh. So. And you saw Bleav, Byron Leftwich gave me the best of everything in practice. Like it was a game to me. So when I got in the game, it wasn't a game because I'm getting a game in practice from Byron Leftwich. Charlie Batch, same thing. Started for Detroit, plenty of years. Had one. He really started off one of the big contracts. To be honest, guaranteed. So. Pittsburgh just always find a way with the backups. People. Pittsburgh just attract. It's that man. I heard Pittsburgh was good. Let me go test it out. And they wind up coming, Mark. So, Charlie Batch, Byron Leftwich, and from that point on, man, everything. When I got Bleav, everything was easy for me. And, me and Bleav, had some great conversations like, hey, Bleav, don't throw the fade. Don't throw the high fade. Throw the back shoulder fade. He was like, why? I said, man, because I'm just scouting myself and I know teams, they're going to start throwing the back shoulder fade because I'm playing the number one receivers. So between the quarterback and the receiver, if they got a good relationship, this is what they're doing. And I remember clearly, and you can ask Coach T, we should have asked him when he was on the show. Coach T got into the meeting the next day. He was like, Ike, why are you in front of everybody? He was like, Ike, why you and Bleav got your own thing going? And I explained to Coach T what I just told you. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, fellas, that's what you call a professional. When somebody can scout their own self They know what's going on. And I'm like, man, I appreciate that. But when I got the games, when we had Byron Leftwich, when we got the real games on Sundays, Thursdays, on Mondays, Mark, like, it really won a game because I had Bleav. So, and now, you know, for the guys who want to get better on defense, you got a starter. You got a first-round draft pick. He just so happened to be a backup of Mitch Trubisky. So that's a lot of value to the team. That's a lot of value to the team. So shout out to Mitch.
Ike, let me get the last word in here. You mentioned Omar Khan, nicknaming him the con artist here. I owe this to our listeners and viewers. Petty Marks coming out early on today's show. This is something I noticed, Ike. They signed Mason Rudolph to the contract extension before they signed Mitch to the contract extension. Now, Mason's is a 1-year deal. I'm not faulting him for wanting to have employment. He was still a free agent. Couldn't help but notice that, and I don't know if that was part of the negotiation with Omar Khan and company. Just something I noticed, Ike.
Listen, what I really want to say, I can't say right now because they'll smash the heck out of me. BetOnline will smash the heck out.
Listen, I'll say it for you.
Hey, listen, BetOnline will smash the hell out of me. Bleav will smash the hell out of me. And you'll be doing just this right here. You'll be laughing like hell. But since we talking about it, before we get into Mason Rudolph, make sure y'all go to BetOnline, man.
Yes.
BetOnline started with us. Hopefully we're going to end with BetOnline. Anytime you got a bet or anything going on, regardless of the season, regardless of the sport, make sure y'all go to betonline.ag. I said how I wanted to say it, but Mark said better, so Mark, you can take off with this one again.
Ike, I don't know about that. Head to the website, betonline.ag today. Use our promo code Bleav. You can see that on your screen right now to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ike, do you want to continue this about Mason Rudolph? We could also talk about the new targets that the Steelers offense has. Which direction you want to go in, my man?
Let's move forward.
All right. Hakeem Butler, Ike. This is a testament to believing in yourself, not giving up, and asking for help, because in 9 games, he leads the XFL in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns, right? And so I found this on Twitter where it's just like how it started, where it is now. And back in November of 2022, he messaged the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL. He messaged the head coach saying like, hey, I know I missed the draft. It's passed. Can I come in to show you what I can do? 6'6". He dominates the XFL, and now he has the opportunity to make the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love stories like this, to where if it doesn't start out with a Twitter DM, an Instagram DM, asking for a little bit of help, showing a little bit of gratitude, we have yet another target, and he's 6'6" too, that size you just can't teach. And that's why he has the opportunity to make an NFL roster now.
It's his catch radius. So what I saw when I was watching Hakeem Butler, when I saw his catch radius, it's just put the ball around my area code. You put the ball anywhere around my area code. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 around me. I'm gonna come down with it. So he really plays like a power forward, getting the rebound off the rim in basketball. He just so happened to play football. So you can throw the speed away. I look at Hakeem Butler like how I look at Brandon Marshall. Like, Brandon won't run it past nobody, but you throw the ball in Brandon area code, he gonna catch that thing regardless. So that's exactly how I look at Hakeem Butler. Omar Khan artist again. He didn't put another present under the Christmas tree, but it's summertime for Kenny Pickett. So, and that's just a lot of competition. That's just giving Matt Canada and Kenny, you know, they say you can only drive 1 car, Mark, but you know what? Let's get a 100-car garage for the house. So you can only imagine how much money that costs. We're gonna give you 100. We're gonna give you 100 different cars. So we're gonna give you 5. We're gonna give you 6 good receivers. We're gonna give you 3 good tight ends. We're gonna build a picket fence with this offensive line, and we're gonna give you two running backs who can run the ball. I mean, so by the end of the day, we talk about a 12 car. Not even 12. We talk about a 20 car garage. What they're trying to do, and that's what Omar's trying to do, man. Let me give my offense as much weapons as possible for them to flourish. And I mean, competition is a mother. So it's a lot of competition in that wide receiver position/room.
The picket fence, we got the con artist, we got all the nicknames today, Ike. And Hakeem Butler, he was on the receiving end of my favorite highlight this season from the XFL. It was a fake punt pass. They complete the pass to him. It's a blatant offensive pass interference on his end. They don't call it. And then he's just rumbling down the field. It's almost like when you're growing up in the backyards and there's someone who's bigger and faster than everyone. And it's just like no one can tackle him. It was my favorite highlight this past season in the XFL.
Yeah, I watched Hakeem number 88. Yeah. I watched him go crazy, especially in the red zone. Like, he inside, outside, and he does a great job. Like I said, he just reminded me of a Brandon Marshall. He just does a great job of positioning himself. Not only that, but playing like a power forward in NFL, catching the ball off the rim, regardless of who's around him. You throw it up, he gonna come down and catch it.
Was it that kind of receiver that gave you more trouble when you were a cornerback, Ike, or was it more someone who is fast and quick twitch against you specifically? Because you've got some size as a corner as well. What was most difficult for you?
Man, every Sunday was difficult. Mentally. Like, when you're on top of your game, like, the physical part, I've been doing the physical part since I was small. Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't the kind of receiver. I just respected everybody. So for me, it was like boxing. Like, you can't take a second off. So I ain't really had no, I done had some games where some people got the best of me. But as far as like playing corner, Mark, and I say this all the time, Mark, like defensive linemen can mess up because they got linebackers, to make them look good. Linebackers can mess up because they got the secondary, to fill in the holes. We can't mess up. When we mess up, it's touchdowns. People get fired. Games get lost. That's what it is on the back end. So we ain't got opportunity to mess up. So if it's 60 plays, you got to lock it in for 60 plays. So, every game was a game. For me, I took nobody for granted. I don't care whether you're the first, second, or third, fourth receiver. I ain't take nobody for granted because I knew how important the secondary was. So that's what it was.
I got you, Ike. Ike, we'll continue on. Have to pay tribute to the late, great Jim Brown, an absolute NFL legend. And Ike, I'll turn over the floor to you. I don't know if you have any memories with the Hall of Famer at all. I can share a couple tidbits from my dad who grew up watching Jim Brown, but I'll turn it over to you first.
No, I didn't see him in Cleveland a few times. I didn't know he was an all-pro 8 out of 9 years. I ain't know in 12 games, he had 12,000 yards plus. Pro Bowl 8 out of 9 years. I think he was an all-pro 5 out of 9 years. And still to this day, man had 1,800 yards in 12 games. Two seasons of 1,500 and 12.
Hang on. I got you here. It's the year he had 1,800 yards in 1963. They moved to 14 games. They started playing 14 games in 1961. So the first 4 seasons of his career, though, you are right. First 4 seasons of his career, they played 12-game seasons. He led the league in rushing in 8 of his 9 NFL seasons, Ike.
Look at that. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, come on, man. We ain't even talking about 16 now, 17 games. So I'm getting 12,000 yards in 12 and 14 game seasons. Yeah. It's unheard of. And the reason why he moved into the civil rights movement, and that's the reason why he didn't come back to football, because the owner said he was going to take his salary. The owner at the time said he was going to take his salary away from him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you ain't got to think I'm just going to retire. This where I'm going. So he walked out of football in his 9th season because, you know, he felt like how he felt at the time, and the owner felt like how he felt at the time. But come on, man, 8 out of 9 years. I mean, I'm looking at it. When he died, I read his biography. I'm like, man, I ain't know enough about Jim Brown.
Mm-hmm. Like another incredible stat too. He played in all 118 games possible.
Every game, and we ain't even. And they say the legend Brown was even better in lacrosse. That's when black people won't even play lacrosse. They say the man scored 5 goals in 1 half to lead his team to a championship. Mm. Like the more I kept reading on, I'm like, man, I was tripping because we played them twice every year, and I knew how great Jim Brown was. But man, I was really tripping. Like, I ain't do my research. I did my research when he died. I said, man, let me just look why people just love him. You wind up, it's a statue in front of the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Mm-hmm. That should say enough right there. But won't nobody, he the best running back, Jim Brown, the best running back that ever, so far, he the best running back that ever, not one running back can say he did what he did on the field like Jim Brown. And I'm walking away. I ain't got to bounce from team to team. I'm walking away. Because me and the owner, we ain't seeing eye to eye right now. Can't nobody. Yeah. And y'all lucky, I'm talking as I'm Jim Brown. Y'all lucky ain't got a 16-game season with these rules. Y'all lucky I ain't got these rules right now with a 16-game season, because I would have been rushing for 2,500.
I know you're not exaggerating either. 2,000 easily.
The man rushed for 1,800 when they moved to 14 games, boy.
Yeah.
1,800 when all you do was running. It's not like it's a wide open, everything is spread. I'm talking about, and you know who getting the ball? Who, Jim? What's his last name, Brown? That's who get the ball every play. Oh, we need to put 12 in the box. Well, we can only have 11 on the field. Well, let's see if we can put 12 in the box. Come
Sneak an extra defender out of the field.
Just to try. If I'm doing that, that's a defensive lineman. If I'm trying to sneak somebody extra, I'm trying to sneak a defensive lineman on the field. I'm talking about 6 linemen on the field, Mark. For real.
Quick story time for you. So this was back in December of 1964. My dad was 11 years old. He grew up in the Cleveland area as a kid. And at the time, the NFL had its blackout rule, meaning if they didn't sell out the game, they would black out the game on television, and you couldn't watch in that market as a way to try to encourage fans to go to the game. So what my dad did with his dad and then a work friend is they drove from Cleveland to Toledo, about an hour and a half away. They had to get outside of, I think it was like a 90-mile radius, my dad told me, that they had to be able to go and watch the game on TV. So my dad watched the 1964 championship game between the Browns and the Baltimore Colts, and they watched it from a Toledo hotel room. And you know, at the time, they thought there was no way they were going to beat the Colts and the big, bad, mighty Johnny Unitas and everything. Browns ended up winning 27-0, but it's a memory he shares with his father, my papa, my grandfather. And I just can't imagine something like that today where a game is blacked out on TV. So you've got to drive to either, hey, we're going to go get tickets to go see the game, or drive somewhere to be able to watch it on TV. Pretty crazy in retrospect. That was all the way back in 1964.
That radio gave you a beautiful mind back in the day. So that's the, you know, and I've done it a few times just to go back in the day. So that radio, if you just listen to the radio and listen to a football game, you got to paint that picture on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, Mark, I do that once a season. I listen to a game on the radio.
Yeah. And we've had both Bill Hillgrove and Craig Wolfley here on this show, Ike, and they do a great job. And whenever I'm traveling, there's times where I listen where it's like I'm trying to get back home to be able to watch the game.
Ain't nothing like it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. You get to paint that picture in your head, you know? So you get a Picasso of that thing in your head without actually seeing or having that vision.
Ike, final segment of the show, and rest in peace, Jim Brown, absolute legend.
Yes, sir.
Your guy, Pat McAfee, signing with ESPN. Like, at what point did you realize how talented he was as a podcast host, radio host?
Man, listen, with P-Mac. Matter of fact, shout out to P-Mac for signing with ESPN. But P-Mac just breaking down barriers, man. That's all. P-Mac, so you want to talk about really believing and trusting yourself? You leave football and you play punter. And you could have played for 20 years. I'm talking as P-Mac. P-Mac could have played for 20 years.
Yeah.
Just putting the ball. Man, say, no, I see the future. I see something called a podcast. And while TV was thriving, cable networks was thriving, P-Mac said, no, I see the future. I really believe in me. So let me go ahead and get me and my 4 homeboys, and we about to do this podcast, and we gonna see where this takes us. And this is what y'all scared of. This is what I'm running into. If I'm a betonline.ag, I'm gonna bet on myself. And that's exactly what P-Mac said. I'm betting on myself. I don't know how long it's gonna take for y'all to catch up. But once y'all catch up, my resume gonna be so good they're gonna have to pay me. And this man had messed around and signed with ESPN. Now he already got a $100 million deal somewhere else. Now I don't even know what this deal is with P-Mac, but I have a son. And when I tell my son to betonline.ag and bet on yourself, because you didn't put in the work and you're going to reap the benefits down the line, it's going to take 7 to 8 years. I've been saying, bro, when you bet on yourself, it's going to be some struggles. It's going to take 7 to 8 years, bro. I'm saying, just look at your daddy. Like your daddy bet on himself when he was 7 years old, 8 years old. And he wound up making it to where he made it, but he put in the work. And all P-Mac doing now is just reaping the benefits. You can't see no better entertainment on TV, no personality, no charisma, nobody being himself but P-Mac. P-Mac is one of a. This one my mama gave me for my birthday a couple of years ago. P-Mac is one of a kind. That's exactly what he is. So shout out to P-Mac, man. Shout out to P-Mac, just breaking down doors, breaking down barriers.
What's incredible about him, Ike, is his ability to make people comfortable on his show. And this happened last week when Omar Khan goes on his program and the news breaks that they're signing Mitch Trubisky to a contract extension. I've seen him do this multiple times where news is broken on his show just based on his ability to make people feel comfortable, like they're chit-chatting at, say, a barbershop or a bar on a couch watching a game.
Yeah. You just said it. You just said it best. You know, for us as males, we talk about barbershop. When you at the barbershop, you just chopping it up. For me, it would be the cigar lounge. When I'm at a cigar lounge, make sure y'all go to howardgcigars.com and check out this line of cigars. But when you just at a cigar lounge or barbershop, you just Mark, we was there. So when you had them two extend from a male perspective, it's a vacation. Mentally, it's a mental vacation. And for people to go on P-Mac show, it's a mental vacation. He's a hell of a host. You know, you go back to restaurants because of the hospitality, and it feels like Cheers. Everybody know your name. Even if they don't know your name, when you leave, you can't wait to go back. That's P-Mac's show. So that's why everybody, when they get on there, they get out their element. They're in their own zone, but P-Mac make them feel that kind of way. That says a lot about P-Mac.
Well, even hosts or guests you've had that are very polished too, Ike, where it's just like the authenticity is what rings through to me. He's totally himself.
Tank top, cut off jean shorts. That's his gear on his show. And when he get to talk,
either, Ike, you can't forget the chain either.
When he get to talk with the chain, when he get to talking, it's like that's. You know how somebody just walk in. You know how somebody go to a party and they just walk in and they just take over the whole party. They ain't even trying to. They just take over. You know how somebody just walk in a wedding and they just take over the whole wedding. Like you can't give P-Mac. P-Mac got to get the microphone at the end of a wedding to talk about his homeboy, because if he get the mic at the beginning, you don't even want to go behind P-Mac. That's just his personality. Like he got to catch the mic at the end. That's P-Mac. He ain't even trying. That's a God-given talent. Like P-Mac just make everybody feel comfortable on the show, and he ain't even trying it. He's getting paid for it. He deserves every penny. Every penny.
Congrats to him, and congrats to you too, because Ike, especially when that show was early on, you have been a consistent guest of that program. And it's amazing because I have friends and family that reach out to me and they say, "Oh, I saw Ike on P-Mac's show." So that growth, like you helped contribute to as well, Ike. So I see it as there's a lot of hands and people that help us as well with our show. Right. And it's just like you're a part of that too, Ike. You're part of that growth and developing the Pat McAfee show into what it is today.
I mean, teamwork made the dream work. I appreciate the kind compliment. But hey man, if y'all watching Bleav and Steelers podcast and y'all checking out Mark and I'm telling y'all, we see it before it happened. So all the fans, all the viewers, anybody always watching, we'll talk about something in the off season and it wind up happening during the season. See, this is what I like about Mark and I, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It don't take a season. It don't take for us to go during the football season to know what's about to happen during the football season. So make sure y'all just lock in to Bleav in Steelers podcast and check out Mark and I, because we see it before it happens.
Ike, that's a great place to wrap. I want to thank you, the Bleav Network, our video producers over at Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, Herbert Diaz, and the whole crew there. Today's sponsor, betonline.ag, rocking with us since day one. And I want to thank the listeners and the viewers of the Bleav in Steelers show.
I second everything Mark said. So that's teamwork made the dream work. From John Brinkus to Courtney, to Bleav in Steelers podcast, to everybody behind the scenes, to Mark Bergin. To the fans who are always tuning in, listening to us, to the subscribers, we appreciate the support all day, every day. To betonline.ag for being there from day one with us. We appreciate that as well. So,
for Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. We'll see you next time on the Bleav in Steelers show. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.
Peace.